This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by former world heavyweight champion Joseph Parker. Joe, how you doing?
You know what? I am very good. I'm here at home. I'm spending some good quality time with the family. And whilst I'm here at home, I'm putting in some good work to prepare for whatever's next and whoever's next. And I'm enjoying life. Life is very good.
And we will talk about whatever's next in terms of in the ring in an active context. However, there's some more exciting news that we've been told about, or I've been told about just recently. I'm sure you've known for a while. You're going to be making your debut as a promoter in September. Just tell us a little bit about that.
You know, when I signed up with David Higgins a long time ago, I signed a 6-year contract and he was my promoter. And then as time went on, he's now my manager. And I've always had an interest in boxing promotion, how it's run and what's involved in putting on a show and looking after fighters. And along the way, he was able to teach me things that are involved in boxing. The business side of things, you know, putting on events, sponsorship, stadiums, everything that's involved selling tickets. And now I have the opportunity to go co-promote a show with David Higgins, Duco events. And I'm very excited about this opportunity. Of course, I'm not taking my eye off the ball in terms of what I have next and my fight and my goals of being champion of the world again. But I feel like when I'm not fighting and I don't have anything locked in yet, this is a great way to keep involved in boxing and to help someone else achieve their dreams of being champion of the world.
And that lucky someone else is David Naika, obviously former amateur star, unbeaten cruiserweight currently. It's a long-term deal with the zone as well. What made David Naika the right person? Is it just your personal relationship, or do you see something in him that's similar to your own development?
I do see something in him. At present, you know, he achieved a lot more in the amateur game. I achieved a lot in the amateur game in terms of fighting overseas, getting a lot of medals, but he was able to go to the Olympics and get a bronze medal. He was at the Commonwealth Games and he won 2 medals at the Commonwealth Games. So he's already achieved a lot as an amateur, and he's made a great start in his professional career. He's got the talent, he's got height, he's got reach, he's got a great work ethic, and he's got tremendous abs, which is something I've always wanted. And the thing is that he looks the part. He speaks very well, and he's very talented. And I feel like with someone like David Aika, it won't take long until he's already shown himself. You know, he's on the biggest card, Tyson Fury versus Usyk, and he was able to get a good win on that card. Now we're looking at trying to keep him busy and keep him active, and there's a plan in front of him now. Now, you know, take this fight, this fight, this fight, and then you can get to the world title. And I'm the only one from New Zealand to win a world title. It would be great to have David Aika win the cruiserweight championship of the world and bring it back home.
Now, you said David Higgins was obviously your promoter for a number of years. Now you're manager and co-promoter in this new venture. What are the kind of key things you say he's taught you about the promotional side? Now you're moving into that role yourself.
You know, he's taught me along the way. There was many things involved in putting on a show. A lot of people think putting on a show doesn't require a lot, but it requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of planning. It requires getting the right people involved to make these plans happen and to execute. Like you can have all these plans and also like getting sponsorship on board. And I feel like along the way he's shown me all these things, and now that I'm involved in putting on the show, I'm very much looking forward to it. Like to see how my first show is going to turn out with David Higgins. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this at this stage of my career. I'm still, like I said, hungry to be champion myself, but to help someone else from this side of the world try and achieve that goal as well would be awesome.
Now, going to your own career, you defeated two top heavyweights in Zhilei Zhang and Deontay Wilder in the space of, I think it was just over 10 weeks. Um, and you also beat Jack Massey, a win at the time that was kind of undervalued. And he's just won the European Cruiserweight
Yeah,
title at the weekend. So congratulations to him.
congratulations to Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, but it reflects well on you kind of in hindsight as well. Do you feel like you're the most on form fighter in the world today?
You know, that fight with Jack Massey was nice to get the win, but even after a win, I started asking myself questions like, why am I not feeling how I'm meant to feel, and why am I not getting the results I'm meant to be getting? And then I made some good changes from that fight, that sort of opened up my eyes, and I made some changes. So I still had Andy Lee as a head trainer, but I employed George Lockhart. And since then, like the three of us together, everything has been amazing. And we've sort of just gone up in terms of boxing and in terms of conditioning, and also showing great results in the ring. I feel like I am in form, and I'm going to continue to be in form. Like I know what works now, and I got the right, I reckon, the right formula when I approach each fight. And at the moment, because I have no fight, George Lockhart's here, we're building. He's cooking all my meals, and the next time everyone sees me, I'm going to be bigger, stronger, and faster. And I'm still going to have that same conditioning with me.
And maybe you'll get those elusive abs.
And listen, the abs, it all comes down to food. And I love food.
Don't we all? You're preaching to the choir. Um, we'll talk about George Lockhart in a minute. Just taking you back a bit though, the fight with Joe Joyce, obviously incredibly grueling contest, didn't go your way, and right towards the end of the fight as well, which must be mentally very taxing as well. People then were saying, is Joe Parker maybe not finished, but is he done at the top level? You're still a young man. You're still a young man now. Did you ever have any of those doubts? Did any of that ever creep in for yourself, or was it just outside noise?
It was outside noise, but when you have a loss like that, there's a lot of questions. Why did I fight feeling that way? Why did I, you know, how was the camp? Was I eating the right foods? Was I training the right way? Was I resting enough? All these questions and then I went into the Jack Massey fight, but there was never like any doubts. I came straight home. I said to my wife, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Like, I can't leave boxing like this. And I always believed that there was more to what I had. And then obviously made changes after the Jack Massey fight, and that's where everything started picking up. But that fight was a tough fight. Joe Joyce is a hell of a fighter, but I never questioned myself in terms of being in boxing and what I could achieve.
And how did you find George Lockhart, and what made him the right person to add to the team?
When Tyson Fury was fighting Dillian White, I said to Tyson, can I join the camp? Join the camp, and I said, can I do the eating part with you, with George Lockhart? I've never done this before my whole life. Can I try it with you? I tried it, and I always knew that George was very knowledgeable about food, the body, nutrition, but I never knew that George knew about strength and conditioning, what to do in terms of recovery, different phases of camp. And now that I've been with George and Andy for a year, like I feel like my life has changed. Not only with the results I'm getting in boxing, but outside of the ring and what I'm doing here at home. And I just feel like life is a big camp. I'm in camp the whole time, and I do get time with the family. I get time to do different things, but I love what I do now. I love it more than I've ever have before.
What would your nutrition and lifestyle have looked like before you added George to the team, particularly between fights when you're not in camp?
Do you know what? I truly believe that food is key. Like for recovery, for sleep, for what you need out of your body with the training sessions you have. At the moment, we're building, so George is feeding me between 6,500 to 7,000 calories a day, and so it's a job to eat. But while we're in camp, it's 2,500 to 3,000 calories, and it just everything changes. That's how knowledgeable he is. But before I had a George, and before I had Andy, I do love burgers, I love fries, I love snacks, crisps, sandwiches, chocolate bars, you name it, everything.
Are you allowed any of that now?
At times, everything I eat, I have to check with George. And I love it because there's a structure in everything that I do, and there's purpose. There's a reason why we're doing everything.
And can you describe the difference you feel in the ring physically compared to pre-George, or from the Jack Massey fight to where we are now?
With George and Andy, I feel like now that when I'm in the ring, I feel more clarity, and I know that I'm thinking about what I'm doing, and I'm trying different things, and I know what's coming. Like when you're tired and you're out of gas, everything goes out the window, and you're on survival mode, like the Joe Joyce fight. But now that I have, I put in the work, I eat the right food, I rest well, I train hard with Andy Lee and George. I got a lot of clarity, and I know that my conditioning, I can fight 15 to 20 rounds.
Well, yeah, let's hope you don't have to, but anytime soon, I can't see it, but you never know. Um, Anthony Joshua's got a big date coming up at Wembley in September. Riyadh season coming to the UK. Obviously, they've got their US debut first. Eddie Hearn, in a recent interview, said they'll take on Daniel Dubois if the IBF title is going to be on the line. If not, then they'll probably look at either yourself or Zhilei Zhang. Have you had any sort of initial conversations with Matchroom or Eddie about that fight in September?
I know Eddie will be saying that, but there have been no discussions without. I would like listen. I would love the opportunity to fight Josh. I know everyone else would love the opportunity to fight him. He's still a big draw card, and he's coming off some great wins like Francis Ngannou and Otto Wallen. He's looked very good. He looked like a different fighter in these fights. So I'm sure everyone wants to fight him. But at the moment, there's been no discussions with our team, and I'm sure it looks like most likely to be Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, people were talking about it, saying, "Well, Dubois had a couple of good wins, probably not as good as yours. Zhilei Zhang is someone you've beaten recently. It seems like you're the outstanding candidate. Why do you feel you won't get the fight and Daniel Dubois will? Is it simply two Brits at Wembley?"
Do you know what? It's Wembley Stadium. You got two Brits. Daniel Dubois looked great against Hergovic. You got Josh looking great after the France and Ghana fight. So it makes more sense to have two Brits. I'm not sure if they'll even fight Zhang, but it makes sense for Dubois and Josh to be fighting Wembley Stadium. You know, and all the Brits can come along and watch it. I'm sure they have an undercard filled with British fighters.
Does it frustrate you at all, though, that Dubois probably will get that fight? You've got Fury Usyk rematch coming up, so that ties up the other belts. You're on the superb form, like the best form of your career, and the best form of anyone in the heavyweight division currently, except maybe Usyk, I suppose, if we're being entirely fair. Does it frustrate you that you're not getting that title shot or that huge fight just yet?
You know what? It's not. It doesn't frustrate me. I do want those fights, but I'm just, to be honest, I'm just practicing patience. And whatever fight they put in front of me, I'll take. I'll fight anyone, and I just have to keep proving that I know that I'm the best. And that's whatever they put in front of me, I'll take it, prove myself, and move on to the next one. So I do want to be involved in these big fights, but eventually it'll come if I take care of business.
And if you do ultimately get a rematch with Joshua, who we know defeated you on points a number of years ago, not his best performance and not your best performance, what sort of fight would you expect? How would it be different from first time around?
I feel like we've both grown as fighters. I have a lot more confidence within myself, and not so much. I still am defensive, but I'm a lot more offensive. With Joshua, though, he's like I said, he's coming off two good wins. He looks like he's in form with Ben Davison, and he's showing a lot more power. You know, which is something I have to show myself. I think it'll be a lot more an aggressive fight. I think there won't be he won't be looking for me, and I won't be looking for him, and I feel like it'll be a lot more entertaining, a lot more punches thrown, and a lot more punches landing on each other.
And do you think that suits you? Does that give you more opportunities to come out on top?
It'll give me more opportunities if I can stand my ground and back myself and back my power and speed, and it'll give him more opportunities as well. It'll make it a lot more exciting fight than the first fight.
Glad to hear it. But the fight that is probably next for Joshua, as you've said, is the Daniel Dubois fight. He did look great against Hergovic, as you pointed out. How much chance do you give Daniel Dubois in that Wembley fight if it happens against Joshua?
You know, you always give a heavyweight or any fighter a chance, but you know, if you could do compare the two guys and the way that they're fighting and the power that they've been showing, Joshua does look the favorite, and I'm sure everyone else would agree. But you can never count the bar out. Like a lot of people going into the Herkovich fight, I thought Herkovich was the favorite, so I was very wrong. And Dubois showed great determination. And he was very consistent with starting the rounds very fast, and he was able just to push him back and frustrate Herkovich. So I do give him a chance, but it's quite like, I mean, Josh will be the favorite.
And we mentioned Tyson Fury earlier. You guys are clearly close friends, train together when time and schedules allow. Tell us how that relationship first began and how it's developed over the years.
You know, we started supporting each other. I started watching all his fights from this side of the world, and he started watching mine from that side of the world. We supported each other, and we were communicating through, social media. And then when I had the opportunity to fight Huey Fury, that's the first time I met Tyson, and we there was a lot of respect between us. And after that fight, where we got together, we had a bit of a party, and ever since then, we just become really good friends. And he's done a lot for me in terms of when I left my trainer Kevin Barry and moved on to looked after me in Morecambe Bay, gave me the gym, gave me one of those houses to stay in, looked after us with a car. So he's done many things. So I got a lot of respect for Tyson, and I'm very grateful for the things that he's done to help me with my career.
And when you saw the Usyk fight, what, 2 months ago? No, what, last month, in fact. How do you receive a result like that? Because it's not you in there. It's not like taking a loss yourself. But is there a level of vicarious kind of distress when you see your friend lose in a big fight?
Oh yeah, it was like when my family watch my fights, they're way more nervous than I am, my family and friends. And I feel like when I was watching this, I was way more nervous than and I'm sure his family, his brothers were there, family were there, dad was there. So you want them to be the best and to do the best, but it was just a hard fight to watch. Like Usyk is a very talented fighter, and he was able to pick it up towards the end. So it was tough to see Tyson be hurt like that in the ninth round, but he showed a lot of heart to be able to continue that fight and finish the 12 rounds. It was a tough fight, and I'm looking forward to the rematch.
I'm sure you've seen since the fight, there's been quite a lot of criticism of the corner, particularly that there were, in what people are saying, too many voices at the same time. I've also seen some calls in the last week or so for your trainer, Andy Lee, to become Fury's head trainer in place of Sugar Hill Stewart, which might not meet with your plans. But what do you make of the criticism of the corner, and what were you thinking while it was unfolding in real time?
When I was there watching, so I wasn't able to see the corner and hear it because I was there live doing a bit of the broadcast thanks to the zone. But a lot of people were criticizing the corner, and I guess every fighter is different. He had the people involved that he had a good relationship in terms of training, and just emotions were high. I think, but a lot of people and a lot of fighters do approach fights differently and have certain voices in the corner that they want, whether it's one or two. But I'm sure emotions were high, and everyone just wanted them to be the best and do the best.
So would you, I know it's obviously not your place to recommend things, but would you like to see a change in that corner, whether it's, fewer people or anything like that?
Yeah, I feel like just whatever he's comfortable with, and as long as I feel like myself, I like one clear voice, and that's Andy Lee, and everyone else is just there to support, do the ice and everything else. But when it's a tough fight like that in unification, I'm sure I don't know, everyone just gets all hyped, and everyone wants to say this and say that. But I'm sure coming into the next fight for the rematch on the 21st of December, they'll make some good changes, and they can approach it in a way where they're comfortable with it.
Now, we saw Fury last week go viral, probably not in a way he would have liked, at a pub in Morecambe. Maybe a pub you've even been to during one of your visits, I don't know. But what did you make of that video clip? And were you concerned at all? Or is it just, a fighter having a blowout months away from his next fight?
I feel like it's just someone having a blowout, and maybe he got a bit too happy and had a bit too many drinks, and this I'm sure everyone has been through the same thing. And just I texted him and called him and made sure he was fine. He was fine. He was laughing about it. He goes, "Oh, just had a few too many drinks." And it's one of those things where he's celebrating life and celebrating, what he's achieved. But he said to me, now it's time to get back to work and time to focus on the fight ahead on 21st of December.
Is it hard as a fighter when you've had a loss, you want to avenge it, but you're having to wait 6 months for the rematch? Because I know originally he wanted it in October. Now it's not until December, and you've got a lot of free time on your hands and a lot of energy to burn up.
I feel like when you have this free time, everyone treats it differently. I love to spend time with I got 5 kids, and the wife is very busy with them. I like to go fishing and play instruments. So I think every fighter is different, and every fighter spends their time obviously you can go out to the pub and have a few drinks here and there, but I'm sure there's life doesn't stop. There's always things to do when you have a family.
What do you play?
I like to play the guitar and a little bit of the piano, and I'm very good on the triangle.
Okay, fair enough. Do you play with like other people? Do you do like group performances or anything like that, or is it just on your own for fun?
No, yeah, just on my own. I got upstairs. I got a drum kit. I got a guitar, and I got a piano. And just every now and then, it's nice just to relax and just play some nice music. And it's sometimes when it just zones you out for a bit when life gets too busy and too hectic.
Will we ever see you play yourself to the ring? I suppose you can't really because you have your gloves on.
The triangle I can, but not the
Yeah,
other instrument.
yeah, not the guitar or the piano, unfortunately. Just going back to Fury Usyk for a second, what do you think Tyson needs to do differently in the rematch? Because a lot of people have said the success he had in the middle rounds, he just needs to replicate that for longer in the fight. Is it that simple?
Listen, it sounds simple.
Yeah.
When you have someone like Usyk with the boxing IQ and the movement and angles and the punches from different, coming from different places, it's quite hard to. It's easier said than done. I feel like for me, I like to see him stand his ground a bit more and fight like the big man instead of moving around. But I'm sure him and his team were able to watch the tape back and come up with a good plan to approach the next fight.
Now, I mentioned earlier you had two big fights in the space of just over 10 weeks and did, the rounds in both of those as well. How important has that been, getting that level of activity?
That's very important. I had the Jack Massey fight. Then I made some changes. I went and had a fight in Australia, one round. Then I had Simon Keane, which is about 3 rounds. Then I had Wilder. But keeping active and preparing for all these fights led me into that big fight, and I was able to go 12 rounds. And then having those 12 rounds under my belt, the fight with Zhang, I think is very important. Activity is key. And I know I would like to keep active since the Zhang fight, but it's just I'm just waiting patiently. And while I wait, I build. And it's given us time to work on a few things that we need to work on.
And in the Zhang fight, how much confidence did you take from being able to recover from the knockdowns? Because he's known as a huge puncher, and you were able to get up twice and eke out the victory.
Oh, he is a big puncher. He was 291 pounds when he fought. So there was a big weight difference, but he is a big puncher. It just showed that my conditioning was on point. But I'd like to, if I do have a rematch with Zhang one day, if it's a next fight or another fight further down the track, I want my conditioning to be better, and I want to throw more punches, and I want to throw heavier shots. So that's what we're working on right now.
Well, you might not need to go for a rematch before you get your title shot, we would hope. But when should we expect to see you back in the ring?
I thought it would be September at the Wembley card, but now it's looking like October. So we've made a plan in terms of training for October date, and that's what we're aiming towards. I'm not sure who, I'm not sure where, but in October.
So the initial plan to, I'll have to ask, obviously now you said it, but the initial plan to be at the Wembley card, who would that have been against?
I felt like it was going to be against Dubois because listen, Dubois. I'm not sure if Dubois was the favorite to win that fight with Hergovich, but now that he's won, and a lot, even I think Wilder was, a lot of people picked Zhang to win, but they thought Wilder was going to win. So all these fights and all these different results happening has changed the sort of landscape of what was meant to happen.
So it would have been Wilder against Joshua in the main event, and then yourself against Dubois.
I feel like it. I feel like it, yeah. But everything, boxing is a unique sport where things change just like that.
Not great for you though, because that could have been your IBF title shot.
It could have been, but like you said, you can look at it as a way of being frustrated, or you can just be patient and go along with it, and whatever happens, take it with both hands and smash it.
Good place to end on, I think. Nice bit of Tuesday motivation rather than Monday. Um, Joe, really, really appreciate your time. We look forward to seeing you back out. I think you've won a lot of new fans over the last couple of fights as well. A lot of people out there rooting for you. So, yeah, good luck with everything, and let's see you back out soon.
Thank you very much, Danny. Appreciate it, brother.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Speak soon.